Harry Kane drops behind and receives the ball from Tanguy Ndombele. The England captain has left space behind him for Son Heung-Min to run into. The lofted ball is on his feet. Son is through on goal and only has the keeper to beat. The South Korean international aims for the top right corner and he's off to the empty bleachers. Son scores and Tottenham have the lead. You can replace Harry Kane with any of Tottenham's offensive stars, or even the trio of marauding fullbacks, and the answer will be the same. Son is in the form of his life, and Spurs are profiting from it. The 28-year-old already has 10 goals from 3 competitive outings, also managing 5 assists along the way. Consequently, Jose Mourinho's men are second in the Premier League points table and looking like genuine title challengers. With Christian Eriksen leaving in January, Son is undoubtedly the star alongside Kane. And with Gareth Bale in the squad, he's part of the most intimidating trio of attackers in English top-flight football. That importance is being recognised as Tottenham put together improved terms to hold him in North London for the long-term future. He's set to receive a new 5-year deal worth £200,000 per week, making him one of the top earners at the new White Hart Lane. The Gangwon native is being thanked for his exceptional performances in the white jersey. He's been an integral piece of the puzzle for both Mauricio Pochettino and Jose Mourinho, 2 very different managers. So where does it all begin for Son? When did he become a vital cog of the machinery that had flattered to deceive when it mattered the most? To answer these, we have to take a trip down memory lane to times where Kane slugged alongside Eriksen as everybody else fell by the wayside. While no one can fault Eriksen for his decision to leave England, the Dane's time was up as Mourinho came to his fore. So, without further ado, let's go down memory lane. The current Tottenham era can't be attributed to a single manager but their talisman, Harry Kane. He was still in the first team's whereabouts when the managerial hot seat changed ownership from Harry Redknapp, Andre Villas-Boas and Tim Sherwood. It was Mauricio Pochettino who took a punt on him, and the rest is history. The hard-working, lanky lad transformed the fortunes of his boyhood club. While Arsenal have struggled to make the top 4, Spurs challenged for the title and only lost out marginally. Pochettino's arrival transformed the club as their energetic displays earned them applause. They recorded win percentages reminiscing of their early days under Frank Battel and John Cameron. Over 100 years lay between these 2 periods. Alongside Harry Kane, Christian Eriksen and Hugo Lloris were the undisputed starters. Dele Alli would join this revolution in the summer of 2015. The tenacity of Spurs was building up, but they lacked spark going forward. That answer was solved with the addition of Son Heung-Min in 2015. While not technically a deadline day signing, Son's contract purchase from Bayer Leverkusen was completed on August 28th. They like to leave it late in North London. He arrived for £22 million and signed a 5-year contract, becoming the most expensive Asian player in the process. It was a match made in heaven, his debut coming from the bench in a 1-0 win over Sunderland. Within a week, he would open his goal-scoring account with a brace for Karabag FK in the UEFA Europa League. By the time his first week of club duties were completed, Son would open his Premier League account against Crystal Palace in a London derby. The South Korean international had arrived at White Hart Lane, but it would be some time before his true arrival was announced. Son's first season in the Premier League saw Tottenham battle it out with Leicester City for the English crown. He was instrumental in their success over the festive season, helping Spurs secure victories with late goals, but it was not until the Battle of the Bridge that he showcased his true spirit. With the title on the line, he gave Pochettino's men the crucial 2-goal advantage. However, it would not come to be. Chelsea rallied back from the deficit and equalised through the mesmerising skill of Eden Hazard. The Foxes would go on to claim the Premier League title, but the season showed there was more to come from the Asian magician. The trial by fire was completed, but there were rumblings that Son wanted to leave. Pochettino would not have anything to do with it, and he refused any charm defences for the attacker. The 2-footed forward himself wanted to leave, but it was denied. He wanted more playing time, as if 40 competitive outings wasn't enough for a debut campaign in the most competitive footballing domestic competition. It showed the mindset of the 6-foot forward, and there was indeed more to be tapped in. Spurs' faith in his abilities were not misplaced, and they were soon proved correct for persisting with him. He began the 2016-17 campaign with a blistering start. A brace and an assist in the 4-0 win against Stoke City was just the beginning of an impressive campaign. In the next game against Middlesbrough, the FC Seoul youth would add 2 more to his tally. By the time he would play his 5th game, he'd overtaken his Premier League haul of the previous season. It was only opportune that he was named the Premier League Player of the Month for September. In the rich history of English top-flight competition, he became the first Asian to receive this award. Son was truly in his flow. By the time the season would complete, and Chelsea were crowned champions, he'd bagged the Premier League Player of the Month for April. Son's 14 league goals and 21 in all competitions were impressive to say the least. He had truly grown into the player for whom £22 million were paid. The event that sticks out and showed the South Korean was here to stay was befittingly at White Hart Lane. Tottenham took on the challenge of the beleaguered Millwall, but the away fans didn't know this. The fact that Kane was lost to an ankle injury made matters worse for the Lily Whites, but it was not going to be. Buoyed by the loss of their rival's star performer, the Lions fans hurled racist abuse at Son to unsettle him. Spurs' next best attacking option was undeterred and made the Millwall fans chew their words. He would score his first hat-trick in Tottenham colours as the North Londoners won 6-0. It was the perfect response to the racist chants, and Son did well to channel his inner demon to put Millwall to the sword. In the 17-18 season, the smiling Asian had truly arrived. He was a regular fixture of the first team. No longer was he part of the group, but an integral member of the first team who was relied upon to get the job done. He was expected to deliver on a regular basis, and he did continue to deliver whilst surpassing expectations at the same time. He made 53 appearances in all competitions, scoring in crunch encounters against Borussia Dortmund in UEFA Champions League and Liverpool in the Premier League to win valuable points. He finished the season with 18 competitive strikes, overtaking Park Ji-sung to become the top Asian goalscorer in England. All these efforts should be lauded, but they pale in comparison to the feat he achieved on January 13, 2018. In the dismantling of Everton, he scored and assisted in the Spurs' cause. What is important about the goal is that it was his 5th time that he troubled the scorers in 5 successive home games. Jermaine Defoe had the record before him, and now it was in his hands. When the 18-19 season began, Son was a true star. He'd proved himself with performances in successive seasons. He was not a one-hit wonder, but a regular performer alongside Christian Eriksen, Dele Alli, Harry Kane and Hugo Lloris. The foundations of a top team were in place, and this would come to fruition as Mauricio Pochettino masterminded Tottenham's path to the UEFA Champions League final. It was an impressive feat, as the Argentine was besotted with injuries and had tweaked his players' positions. Son played half as many games as a centre-forward as he played on his preferred left wing. His two-footedness helped their cause as Borussia Dortmund was swatted aside, but it was his performances against Man City that truly marked his arrival. It was his solitary strike that gave them the win at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. At the Etihad, Son was at it again, and his brace in the 4-3 defeat allowed Spurs to progress ahead on away goals following the 4-4 aggregate. Spurs' abject performance in the final against Liverpool will haunt them forever, but their progress to the final of the elite club competition's extravaganza showed that they could punch above their weight. The following season went from bad to worse, and the much-loved Mauricio Pochettino had to pay for his job. He's still out of a job, but Spurs have not looked back since and continue to reap the profits of the Argentine's efforts. Harry Kane's dwindling career has been revitalised, but it is Son Heung-Min whose star continues to rise. The South Korean has been dubbed Sonaldo Nazario by the Special One, an apt title from a man who knows how to cherish them. Future generations of Asian players, especially South Korean youngsters, will be fondly remembered as Sonaldos. This all came when Son ran past 7 Burnley players, travelling from the edge of his box to the opposition's third for this goal of the season. If Son's performances against Manchester City in the Champions League marked his true arrival at the world scene, this goal was a reminder that he was here to stay. The South Korean national team captain made it to the 30-man Ballon d'Or shortlist, and there was surely more to come from him. The 2019-20 campaign was ravaged by injuries and, of course, the epidemic of which we will not speak. Nothing was normal in the campaign, but there was one thing certain, that there's more to come from Son. As Jose Mourinho settles in North London, his tactics are getting the most out of his star players. Son has benefited the most from this. His best season with Spurs has seen him score 14 goals in the Premier League, and this feat was achieved 3 years ago. While Son has become an integral part of the team, his goal tally in the English top flight has not improved. That will come to an end this season. After just 8 games into the Premier League campaign, he has as many goals to his name. Barring any injury concerns, we can see the best from the South Korean sensation. With Kane metamorphosing into a playmaker forward, he's gained the most from the change in approach. The new Tottenham tactics allow them to make the most of his two-footedness and has made him even more potent. Mourinho can end the trophy drought, and Son will be the man bringing it home. He's built up a reputation to score when the going gets tough, an attribute found in all of Mourinho's champions. The Special One gets the most out of his players, and Sonny Boy fits the mould. Here's hoping he continues to make his mark and reaches new heights.